beautiful day, and I'm so excited to know that you are there. You're welcome to another edition of Editors Forum. I am Rita Omodia, and on this program we get to discuss front burners and of course topical issues affecting our country. And I'll not be alone. I have Emeka Madunagu with us to discuss our issues. Emeka, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Afternoon.
It's a lovely day.
And of course, we have Benga Onoyiga. I hope I got that correctly.
Indeed.
Yes. And he's the first-time political editor of Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. You're welcome to the show.
My pleasure to be here.
And our political analyst, yes, our public analyst, Victor Aya. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm a member of Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Nigeria.
All right.
GPAN.
All right, we have our distinguished gentlemen here. Thank you for being on the show. And of course, as the 2019 elections draws near, we have lots of things happening. And of course, the Ekiti election, July 14, is around the corner. A lot of campaign going on for the election. And we can only wait till that time to see who will appear and, of course, become the next governor of Ekiti State. But right now, we have another trending issue as we saw earlier in the year, in June, we had the APC convention, which brought about Adams Oshomole as a national APC chairman. And just around the corner on Wednesday, we had another splinter group, a faction of the APC, and that is the Reformed All Progressives Congress. Yes, that is what they call themselves. And they are saying that they are doing this because of marginalization in the party. We've had a lot of talks about marginalization. We can only hope that all these talks will end. But before we discuss the issue, let's hear from Buba Galadima, who is the supposed national chairman of the Reformed All Progressives Congress.
The House of Representatives has kicked against the federal government's plan to disburse the $322 million Abacha loot returned by the Swiss government to poor people in 19 states of the country. The House also resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the total amount recovered from the late military head of state, General Sani Abacha, and how the monies were utilized. This followed the unanimous adoption of a motion moved by Sunday Karimi on the urgent need to stop the federal executive from spending the $322 million Abacha loot without parliamentary approval. Leading the debate, Karimi faulted the MOU entered into by the Nigerian government with Switzerland, mandating that the money be paid directly to the accounts of the beneficiaries without appropriation by the National Assembly.
The motion is titled Urgent Need to Stop the Federal Executive from Expending the Last Tranche of Abacha Loot or
paid for forms for congresses and convention were elected as delegates have come together to take control and give legitimacy to APC to be now known as and called Reformed APC, or otherwise called RAPC. The RAPC have officers in all the wards, 774 local governments, and all the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT. The RAPC also have National Executive Committee, the National Working Committee, and other organs of the party are properly constituted and are functional. Men of courage, men of goodwill, people of impeccable character and integrity must stand up to stop the slide in our country. If we do not stand up, we may wake up one day and find no Nigeria at the rate we are going. But I want to say something, that as we constitute ourselves and as we have the support of the people, I assure you that when we start to speak, at least I can't say for other parties, but I will deliver 75% of those 12.5 million votes that Buhari always garner in every election that he stood. I assure you that most of the leading members of the defunct new PDP, CPC, ANPP, ACN, and others.
All right, thank you very much. And of course, we saw the video clip there of Buba Galadima, who is the supposed national chairman of the Reformed All Progressives Congress. So our gentleman here, I'll start with you, Emeka. Now, we remember that sometime last year we had another splinter group of the People's Democratic Party, and these occurred after the convention because people were not happy with the happenings, with what happened at the convention. Still talk about marginalization. We had that in PDP after the national convention, and now again after the APC national convention, which emerged, where Adolphus Shomole emerged as the national chairman. We have another splinter group again. Can we see this? Is there some kind of problem in the parties or with the political system in the country?
Yeah, of course. For people to have formed the splinter group tells you that there are some members of the party who are not happy with the way things are going in the party. You know, people talk about that some prominent members of the formed APC, I mean, which metamorphosed from NPDP, new PDP to APC, that they are holding prominent positions. But the issue is within the party structure. They believe that they are generally marginalized, that they have been shut out, you know, at the congresses, ward, local government, states, congresses, and even a national convention. You saw national convention, it was a harmonized list. So it didn't reflect the wishes of the generality of members of the APC. It was more like a position, you know. So the same thing happened in the PDP, and you saw a lot of people like Professor Tunde Adeniro, the rest of them, they left to SDP. You know, some others left to other parties. So these are the things you see in a political system where people don't respect the rules, where people don't want to play politics by the rules, where you have some godfathers who feel they can sit down somewhere and just draw up a list, send it to delegates, and force it down the throats of people. So how do you now reflect the wishes of generality of members of the party? So what you have is that along the line, there will be splinter groups. Some people may sit in the party and not say anything, but when they have an opportunity to defect or to form or to join a splinter group, they will do so. So the thing is this, we must learn to play politics by the rules. Our politicians must play politics by the rules. The same thing PDP was accused of doing is what you see in the APC. Imposition, you know, imposing people in different offices, you know, drawing up parallel ESCOs. You saw a lot of that all over the place. These were things that made PDP lose electoral value, lose appeal. And then at the end of the day, what happened? They were roundly defeated in 2015 because people got tired of things like that. Somebody will be given the party ticket, but at the end of the day, another person's name will be submitted to INEC as the candidate. And you found this in different places. So now, the same practices have landed in APC. And some members are saying that they cannot allow this to continue. They cannot be shut out of the party. You know, yes, Oshomole, the new national chairman, was boasting the other day that he doesn't bother about them, but you went to meet with the APC caucus in the House of Reps. So if you don't bother about them, what were you going to meet with the rest for? You said you just went to greet them. You know, of course, we know the difference between night and day. So as editors, you know, so when politicians speak, it is our duty to analyze what they say and then now let the people know that this is the real situation. So for me, I think the APC actually needs reform. It's really early in the day, but it needs reform. And for a group to call itself Reformed APC means they're already saying that the reform had better come now or sometime in future. The APC will go the way of PDP. And it's a fact. There's no doubt about that. Let me tell you something. The only thing holding APC today, the only glue holding APC today is Buhari. Because everybody wants to hang around him. The minute Buhari is out of power, forget it. That party will be dead on arrival because all the component units will just split and submit applications to INEC, you know, to return their certificates or form, congregate under other names.
All right. Okay, Benga Onoiga, do you actually feel that with all the splinter groups, emergence of the splinter groups, do you actually feel that that is what we need in the political structure in Nigeria, still referring to the development of the splinter group in APC, the recent one now?
The recent development is quite unfortunate, really, for our political system. We're evolving, we know. But the way things are going shows a lack of party discipline, lack of direction, absence of ideologies, philosophies for parties. People just jump from party to party. It's all about their own selfish interest, not the interest of Nigerians, not the interest of even party members. That is the way I see it. It's an act of indiscipline, let's say the truth. Yes, it happened, like my colleague said, in the PDP the other time. Now it's happening in APC. But where do we go from here? My worry is that between now, a couple of days ago when the announcement was made and the next round of elections, I wonder what time they have.
The primaries are next month. The primaries are
what time do they have to put things together? What will be the philosophy? What are we voting for? You see, I've known Alhaji Buba Galadima for some time. I actually covered him as a reporter when he was a member, a prominent member of the defunct NRC, National Republican Convention. And I know him to be a very strong man, focused, a no-nonsense man. You see, he must have stomached a lot of things for him to agree to lead this new splinter group. However, what does it portend for a democracy? What does it? Sincerely, me, as a person, I'm not too happy about this development because it's all about the interest of some forces, not the interest of democracy, not the interest of the masses of this country. That's my conclusion.
Victor, what do you feel about this development?
I'm so disturbed because it seemed to me that APC never learned any lesson. Because I was thinking that with the fallout of the new PDP from the APC that allied with, from the PDP that allied with the APC, that made the PDP to lose that election, that APC would have learned a very big and strong lesson from that. But with what is happening now, it is clear, it is obvious that they did not learn anything. I would have expected the APC to have sat down quietly and study what led to the fall of PDP. They never did that. They are still following the same trend that made PDP to fail in 2015. It's exactly what is happening now. They talk with pomposity. They don't talk with caution. They don't look inward and say, let us learn from the mistakes of past. Because one thing about life is that as we are living, day by day we must learn. You look at the mistakes of other people, you try to correct them so that you don't fall into such mistakes. But with what has happened now, it is clear to me that APC never learned anything. If not, I wouldn't have expected this to have happened. Buba Galadima was a strong supporter of Buhari. Yeah. In fact, he was the chairman of the Buhari organization. Yeah. So for him to have left, that means something is happening or something has happened that touched his heart. So they have to, it will be very difficult for the APC to coordinate itself and work towards the success of that party, the way I'm saying it, because even though my colleague there said that the primaries will take place by August.
Next month, National Assembly presidential.
But those who are the pillars of the party, if they have left the party, who are the people who will work for the success of the party? These are the questions we must ask ourselves. These are the pillars of the party. Yeah. Even though Shomole is boasting that he was not careful about those people, those are just political statements. There's no way that this caliber of persons will differ from a political party and you expect that party to succeed. If you just suppose this with this insecurity that is plaguing this country today, a lot of Nigerians are disturbed with the killings that are taking place. So where is the fate of APC? So it's disturbing. But to me, it's an omen because I never saw anything special about APC. I always say my mind because in 2014 to 2015, when we were hearing all manner of slogans, change and that, I said I was one of those people my life so much. I was writing for the Union newspaper there, and people were cutting my writings. Just 3 months after the election, somebody phoned me from Ogun State and said that, Mr. Victor, I used to cut your articles, and now that Buhari is there, how do you see the government? I say it is not for me to judge. Time will tell whether I'm going to be justified or not. Another young guy, the other time I was in his office, we were discussing, and he almost fought me. Today, his wife has divorced him. He has distributed his property among friends. He testified to that. I wasn't the one that said so. I don't know where he is now, but he called me and told me that, Victor, if you were a prophet, I would have believed you that all that you said about this government have happened to me, that I almost fought you that day. But today, as I speak to you, my wife has left me. I cannot feed my family. I don't have a job. I don't have a home over my head. So it's not just about criticizing the analyst. I'm just an analyst. I don't speak for these people. So for Shomole to say that he doesn't care, and in the close of the night he will go and meet these people, is that not hypocrisy in the highest level?
Now that you've been brought up, Adams Oshomole, let's hear from him now. Adams Oshomole, as he had a meeting with the Senate President Bukola Saraki concerning the crisis occurring in the APC.
The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Adams Oshomole, has met with the Senate President Bukola Saraki and the caucus of the party. Addressing the senators at the upper chamber of the National Assembly complex in Abuja, Oshomole said that the challenges of rebuilding the party is a collective one that all hands must be on deck, adding that the party must ensure Nigerians that the party has the capacity to deliver on its promised change, it told Nigerians. He assured that his leadership would put in place a conflict resolution mechanism which would handle crisis within the party.
About what our people think about us in terms of our future political engagement. So I want to assure everyone that it is not unusual to have the sort of issues that we probably have in a couple of places. But I bring aboard a determination, working with you and together with you to address each of those problems with a view to finding sustainable solutions and win-win solutions.
Meanwhile, the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, acknowledged that there were challenges in the party and that it was the responsibility of the leadership to address them.
And I want to ensure that by the time we go into a closed-door session, some of us will be able to express some views that will help us moving the party forward.
Welcome back. You're still on to Editors Forum on Galaxy Television, and we are discussing the emergence of the APC splinter group, the Reformed All Progressives Congress. And the video clip you saw there was the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshomole, calling on all, speaking with Bukola Saraki, calling on all to come together to solve the issues in the party. Now, people have said people wanted change in the PDP, and that's why we voted the All Progressives Congress. Now, how do you see the All Progressives Congress as a viable party concerning the crisis now that is affecting the party?
Well, it's in their hands to decide. I'm not a member of APC, so I have no sympathy for any political party, APC, PDP, or whatever. I have no sympathy. I am for Nigeria, for the good of Nigeria and the good of Nigerians. It's like they say, soldier go, soldier come. You know, barracks remain. So the issue is this. For me, they should put their acts together. They should stop pretending as if politics is not about negotiation. It's not about negotiation. You put different issues on the table, and then, you know, you resolve these issues. But grandstanding, the way Oshomole is going about it, he doesn't even have the final say. The leader of the party is the president. It's President Buhari. In the state, the leader of the party is the governor. So whatever he may say, he doesn't care about them. But if the president has a different view of that, that is what will prevail. And that's what matters. Because he's the one that rally the governors around, that rally the National Assembly members of APC around, and tell them, okay, fine, this is how we'll go about it. The primaries are fast approaching. So for you to be saying, to be calling them bread and butter politician, I mean, you see all kinds of things on social media, people maligning Baba Galadima, saying all kinds of things. Come on. I tell people, I say, listen, it is easy for you to throw stones at other people. But the day you get into public office, and all those, and they gather those same stones and start throwing at you, then you know that you don't just wake up and malign people. What am I trying to say? Oshomole knows in his heart of hearts how he and the governor of Edo State treated Oyegun when he was national chairman. They didn't give him any respect. When Oyegun was the national chairman, there was a reception for Oyegun in Benin in September last year. Only one member of the Edo State House of Assembly was there. The governor was not there, the deputy governor was not there, the speaker was not there, Oshomole was not there. They were not there. They made sure that prominent people didn't attend. Now you come in as chairman and you think people will clap for you. It is now his own baptism of fire. He should find a way to make sure the party remains and that the party doesn't disintegrate under his watch. So he had better come down from his high horse and play politics. But grandstanding before the media, to impress the president, to impress some people, he may end up just being put to one side. Because the president knows, I need these people, like my colleague Victor said, I need these people. He's going to reach out to them and just tell Oshomole, hold your peace. Forget about it.
Definitely, we all know that handling with people, there are different categories of people, different kinds of behavior, and when people are not pleased, they have different ways to react to this. But concerning still on the political structure now, do you feel that creating a splinter group will actually, is that actually a solution to the problems affecting the party itself?
I don't think so. I would have expected them to stay within the party and solve whatever problem, whatever challenge they are facing. This one guy on another station calls it jumpology or whatever. This idea of hopping from party to party will not solve a problem. Instead, it's like entrenching act of political indiscipline. It's like flirting, sort of, and it shows that we are still within that vicious circle. You know what is happening? Okay, what is the program of the splinter group? They have a right to move. I'm not saying they don't have a right to go, but I'm looking beyond this condemnation. APC is bad, and the PDP is this and that. Where do we go from here? Are we starting all afresh? Who talks about the ideology again?
Yeah, about the people.
Is it? Can we go back to a little to the right and a little to the left? If that will solve the problem, I'm an advocate of that anyway. You know where you belong. You know, yes, or let's even go back to the 60s and even the 90s, when we had, the Awolowos of this world, the Zik, and even until very 1983 period, 1979, when you know PDP, UPN stands for 5 cardinal programs: healthcare, free education, this and that. You know that MPN will tell you, yes, we are going to. Nobody talks about that. It's all their selfish interest. So I'm disgusted, I'm disappointed in what is happening because it's not in the overall interest of the masses. And let me quickly talk about what Ibeka said. I'm not a member of any party, them. The time has come for all of us to take a position. Okay. It's not enough to also come to a TV station or radio or use social media especially to be condemning. Let's go into these parties. Let's be carry members and effect all these changes we are talking about. We need a lot of political engineering to do. I'm also talking to myself. I don't belong to any party. I'm not a card-carrying member of any party. But is this, we've been making all these rhetorics for years, and it's the same characters, the same political actors in all the parties, and we stay back and analyzing and criticizing and dissecting. I think the time is up for my brother and myself.
I don't have the money.
You don't need to have the money. Let's get in and be talking about delegates. We know what I was in Abuja for 25, 26 years, covering politics. We know what happens at conventions. Basically, money sharing.
Yes.
They fight to be delegates. They get there. You get, in fact, at the time they were getting in dollars. Are these the people we are putting our hope in, and we stay back and analyzing? What I'm just saying, my sister, is that yes, I like what is happening now because the awareness is there for people to have their PVC. I like the campaign. Beautiful. And you see Nigerians now going out to get their PVC. But let's go a step further by joining political parties of our choice and effecting this change and injecting discipline into the various political parties or platforms we have in Nigeria. Enough of armchair criticism. I'm equally criticizing myself. Thank you.
Victor, let's hear from you. Do you feel that the splinter groups, marginalization, you think all these things are actually the solutions we need to the political structure in Nigeria?
Well, before I come to that point, I will tell my colleague that the brand of politics we are playing in Nigeria is that of money. No matter your intelligence, if you don't have money, if you even belong to any party, nobody is going to allow you to say your mind. So you have to get that. You were once into journalism, and I know you are still following. You know how politics is playing in Nigeria. It's not like America where they discover that you have intelligence to drive something, then they prompt you forward. It's not so. It is always the money bars that will have a say. Have we answered ourselves? Why is it that it's the same people who were once military generals that are the ones that are seeing politics today? I was in my middle class in college when Buhari was the head of state. Today, at my age, I've graduated, have first and second degree. He's still my president. So what do you think about that? Is it because I'm so lazy? It is not so. It is because of issue of money. These are the people that control the money, and it is those who control the money in Nigeria that play politics. If you join any party today without being a money bag, nobody is going to recognize it. You know that too well. I'm not too dull to be. I can be a quality spokesman of a party or any government agency, but the opportunity will never be given to me. So that is that. So concerning your question, I will say the greatest mistake is APC because they fail to learn their mistakes. And again, they have always maligned PDP as the destroyer of this country. I wouldn't have expected them to absorb members of PDP whom they have denigrated, demonized over the years. In 2014, they opened their doors before them. People that they call that, even till tomorrow, they are still saying that PDP destroyed the country. But if a politician differs from PDP to APC today, they will organize a carnival. And that is my problem with them. So if they have done that before, and they now have a group of people say that they are aggrieved, why are they pleading with them? Why are they discussing with them? I was thinking that they were going to redeem their image with this happening that, okay, yes, we are party of angels. We made a mistake by accepting you sinners to come and join us. Now that we are aggrieved, please, the door is open. Where we? They never did
Expel
that.
them.
Until tomorrow they will say PDP destroyed this country. PDP a looter. PDP, what kind of hypocrisy is this? I'm so disgusted to be seeing what is happening. In my village in those days, we know the families where we have thieves. Nobody give their daughter to them. But you say you are angel, you are saints, you are pope, but yet you accept member of PDP to come and join you. Now the same PDP members are aggrieved. They say they want to go. You have not treated them fairly, and you are negotiating. Is there no hypocrisy in the highest level? This is my gross over the party. So they are the one causing all this thing because they had the PDP for 16 years that they would have learned one or two things from. But from observation, they did not learn anything. And that is why these things are happening. And it will continue to happen because, as my colleagues have said, we don't play politics of ideology. It is garbage in, garbage out. Just like computer, it is whatever you feed onto the computer that it brings out to you. And that is the kind of politics we are playing. And it's not going to leave us in the nearest future because issue of money is there. Once you have your money, as I'm sitting here, as I'm sitting now, if I have 1 billion now, I will not be here. I will go and form a political party. Before you know it, everybody will gallivate and come around me because I have the money to throw around. But if you know all the books of this world, if you know all if you have all the intelligence of this world, nobody is going to celebrate you. And that is why this class of people who have been there since 1960 will continue to play the politics we are playing. But I thank God that with social media, with internet, and that's one thing I give to PDP. I'm not a PDP member because before you know, people will begin to say this one is a spokesman of PDP. I'm not. But I give credit to PDP for liberalizing the telecom sector that has made us to be able to have access to the world. With our smartphone, in our toilet, in our bedroom, in our beds, we can know what is happening. That is a very vital tool that we have today that is going to change the orientation, the thinkings of Nigeria. So I'm so happy with that because with time, things will begin to unfold in a way, but it's not going to be very quick. It's going to take time. If it's going to take time, it's not something of tomorrow.
Okay, we've talked about, brought about this issue of money politics now, and of course, Mega now brought about we trying to not be enjoying the money politics, and Victor is talking about, okay, no matter what, if you have the money, once you have the money, you can be in politics. We've talked about this. As an elite man, how do you feel we can get out of this situation? We know the problem now. The problem is that we're trying to change the ideology of political structure in Nigeria. So how can we get out of the way? What is the way forward? What actually should be the next line of action concerning the political structure in Nigeria? I
blame Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians like you and I.
Including yourself.
Yes, including myself. We must demand good governance. You see, all this deification, you criticize Buhari, he hates Buhari. Listen, who cares whether Buhari is black or white? The issue is about his administration. The man may mean well, but one official or one minister may have another agenda and then spoil the broth. So it should be about Nigeria. We should stop insulting each other on social media. Look, we should join hands, irrespective of whom you support. Demand a better deal for Nigeria. Nigerians, wake up. We must wake up. We must demand that this country belongs to us. It's not about anybody. Like I said earlier, soldier go, soldier come. One day, Buhari will no longer be in power, and somebody else will be in power. Is this, like my respected senior colleague said, is this how we will continue? We will get to 2019, another round of elections, and things will go on like that. Because let us demand good governance. If, like, there's this thing about say, if you see something, say something. Okay. If a road is bad, take photographs of it, share it on social media. If something is wrong, cry out and demand action. But people will say, oh, the media is compromised, the media will not do anything. And I ask them, what have you put out there that the media didn't investigate? But when they say, okay, come and bring evidence, you say, no, I don't want them to drive somebody away from work. So what do you expect me to do? To go and cook up evidence? Nigerians must demand a better deal for our country. Even if we migrate to other countries, we're just second-class citizens. This is our country.
Yeah, let me quickly come in, not to respond to what Victor and Emeka said, especially Victor. I disagree with you that being active in politics is all about money. I totally disagree. Yes, I know money is important. Even the man that started socialism that time was the son of a very rich man. He needed money to kickstart the thing. So I'm not ruling out money totally. But what I'm saying is that many of us are just lay back. Many of us are not active enough. Let's infiltrate these parties. Let's be more active. And joining parties does not necessarily mean you must hold a position. I'm sure we all belong to social clubs, town unions and everything, that we may not necessarily be the head, but we are vocal. Our views are respected. In fact, many of us belong to some groups that we said, position, please don't worry about position. But we are active and we are respected. That's all I'm saying. You see, so we can't continue this way. Things are bad, and we all know that some of the finest brains in Nigeria, they are out there. But when it comes to politics, I beg go. They are doing very well in business and whatever. Nobody wants to be rubbish and stuff like that. But by the time such people are encouraged to go in, we give them all the support, with or without money, much money, they will do well, and these things will be effective. The question is the way out. The way out is for those talented Nigerians, those who believe they have the ideas and everything, to show that love by going out there, to join a party or parties of their choice, and then effect this change. Without it, now Shoja go, Shoja come. How did you put it? Barack go remain. Me, I'm tired of this lamentation. Wale Soyinka described our generation as a wasted generation. But what of the generation of our children and grandchildren? Must it continue this way? The only way out is for us to go all out and ensure that a change is effected without these billions we're talking about.
No, but what about the issue of neutrality? Neutrality, must everybody be partisan?
Yes, let me also modify it. All of us do not necessarily need to be partisan. But what I'm saying, my observation as a political scientist, as a political reporter for almost 4 decades, the best hands, the best brains are out there. They are doing wonders in commerce, in business, in the sciences, outside this country. But when it comes to politics, it's like a no-go area. And it's like all of us have resigned, that now them. And we now sit back and criticize. That's what I'm saying. The paradigm shift must be effected. There must be a paradigm shift.
Okay.
Enough of the lamentation. Let us go out there and effect the necessary change, the real change.
All right, we are all urged to get our permanent voters card and, of course, vote for the right candidates in the 2019 elections. And, of course, as the election draws near, we'll see how the events will turn out. But, of course, during the week also, now, there was a new development. We all heard about the $322 million that was recovered from the Swiss account, from the Swiss government. And the federal government has said that to disburse this looted money, they would share it to the poor Nigerians in the country. A lot of people have talked about this. People come in who are the poor Nigerians in the country. They have said that they would give it to the 19 states in the country, and from the list that we saw, most of them are actually from the northern side. Of course, the IDP camps too are supposed to get part of the money from the Abacha loot. Now, the House of Reps has kicked against this, saying that they are not okay with the mode of disbursement of the Abacha loot. Let's hear from the House of Reps before we analyze the issue.
The House of Representatives has kicked against the federal government's plan to disburse the $322 million Abacha loot returned by the Swiss government to poor people in 19 states of the country. The House also resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the total amount recovered from the late military head of state, General Sani Abacha, and how the monies were utilized. This followed the unanimous adoption of a motion moved by Sunday Karimi on the urgent need to stop the federal executive from spending the $322 million Abacha loot without parliamentary approval. Leading the debate, Karimi faulted the MOU entered into by the Nigerian government with Switzerland, mandating that the money be paid directly to the accounts of the beneficiaries without appropriation by the National Assembly.
The motion is titled Urgent Need to Stop the Federal Executive from Expending the Last Tranche of Abacha loot or any recovered loot at all without parliamentary approval. Now, recently, the Attorney General of the Federation signed an agreement on behalf of the federal government on the release of the last tranche, which constitutes $322 million belonging to Nigeria. The Special Advisor to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on Justice Reform, Ms. Juliet Ibekaku Nwagu, was reported to have said that in line with the Memorandum of Understanding signed by the Swiss government and Nigerian government, the $322 million will be paid directly to the account of poorest Nigerians without recourse to the National Assembly.
Contributing, lawmakers stressed the need for government to use the money to provide infrastructures that will have multiplying effects and positively impact in the lives of Nigerians.
Or their Nigerians got money and they are supposed to be utilized for Nigerian people. But unfortunately, Nigerians looted these funds out. So when they are out of this thing, for you to recover them, you have to enter into agreement. They are no longer your money. There are governments that have refused to return Nigerians' money. And if we get any deal that will bring Nigerians' money back, then we should welcome it.
Every 1 naira that has been recovered in the so-called Abacha loot, we can continue to, it's not about APC government or Buhari, nobody's accusing anybody, but it is important for the public to have the information. How much has been recovered? Naira to naira, dollar to dollar, pounds to pounds, Dutch mark, whatsoever you have, all the way. Then they should be able to say these are the sources of the money.
Mr. Speaker, I have a concern, and that concern is this revolving phrase, memorandum of understanding, that we're constantly bombarded by every time we go into any kind of agreement with a foreign country. Let me make the point, Mr. Speaker, sir, that every agreement is not a treaty. And any memorandum of understanding that is not a memorandum of agreement does not have the backing of the law and therefore is not worth the paper upon which it is written.
Still on to Editors Forum on Galaxy Television, and away from the APC splinter group to the disbursement mode of the Abacha loot. And of course, the federal government has said it to be distributed to poor Nigerians, and it is according to the infrastructure for the poverty alleviation program of the federal government. This is why they said that they will give it to poor Nigerians in the country. I'll start with you, Victor. What do you feel about this?
It's a wrong decision, because first, how do you define the poorest Nigerians? That is number one obstacle, because if you want to begin to define who is a poor person, almost everybody will be poor, and I'm a poor person. I don't have money, so that means I will be, even though I'm in this suit or this jacket, I will be included. So if people of my caliber, my level is included, then how do we now define the poorest Nigeria? That is number one obstacle that is going to confront them when they want to share the money. And again, they said that the money will be disbursed into people's account. I wonder how many people have accounts in the villages. There are some villages that have never seen any banking system. So how would they open an account through which the money will be disbursed? That is the second problem. And again, those who are in the rural area, if at all they want to open an account, we don't have accessible roads in most villages. How are they going to migrate from their places of abode to the major rural and urban area to go and open an account? So when you put all these things together, you find out that it's a project that that already failed. It's a project that will further enrich those who are already rich, because at the end of the day, the money will not get to the poor of the poor as they are postulating. So I would suggest that the money should rather be divided among the 36 states, and the governors should be instructed to use their own share to put infrastructure in place. We are still confronted with a lack of infrastructure, especially light and good roads. It is until we overcome all these things that one can be talking about welfare system. What they want to do now is what we call welfareism, whereby at the end of the month you are not working, you go to somewhere, you collect some money to take care of yourself. That is welfareism. We have not developed to that level. What is confronting us now is infrastructural development. We have to overcome that before we migrate to what we call welfareism. We cannot do that now. The money should be deploy into the provision of infrastructure. That is what we better the loss of Nigeria. If, for instance, we have 24-hour electricity, a lot of us that are strongly, we become rich because we grapple with a generator, we take care of repairing generator, we buy diesel at the cost of 200 naira in places like Lagos, in some other places 300 naira. Then for fuel it is 140 naira in 145 naira in Lagos, in some other places 250, 300. So if you are a tailor, you find out that at the end of the month you will not be able to cope. But if we have regular power supply, you don't have any business of buying a generator, you don't have any business of buying petrol to power it. So if we have all this in place, Nigerians can be able to do one or two things that will lead to the upliftment of their lives. That is what I will support. I will not support any disbursement of money, because at the end of the day, it will not get to the people the money is meant for.
Okay, Victor has outlined 3 issues with the federal government decision to give to poor Nigerians, and he opines that the money should rather be put into infrastructural development.
Yes, I agree with Victor, but let me disagree with him on this classifying himself as a poor man.
I'm the one that know myself.
No, please don't insult the poorest of the poor. Okay, maybe we classify
different levels of being poor now.
Being poor, then the poorest of the poor. I guess the arrangement is for the poorest of the poor, but it doesn't qualify for either of the two. I even view us at it's obvious. Anyway, that's by the way. Talking about the disbursement, I agree with him. It's I don't know why Swiss government in the first place had to dictate to us how to spend our money. It's our money. Are they paying us interest at all? What right do they have to have held on to that money since Abacha's regime, was what do you call it, replaced so many years ago? So so many wrongs things, almost about 20. You see, what I'm just saying is that that formula is most unfair. It will subject to abuse. Political patronage will come in, and it's also discriminatory against 17 states in this country. So it's against the spirit. Even the wordings of the Nigerian Constitution, So I agree with him that instead it should be spent on infrastructure. Provide infrastructure for Nigerians. If it is only electricity, the federal government is able to fix. Nigerians are ready to hit the ground running and get, the economy, back, and everybody will be doing fine. So sharing 5,000, how much they put it, man, it will be abused. It's obvious, and all these the explanation, the details, bank accounts and everything. Go to my village. Nothing like a bank. In fact, you spend it's almost 30 kilometers away before you get any bank. Yes, there were banks before, but because of armed robbery and everything, all the major banks are to move 30 kilometers away. So, what are you talking about? So, it's illogical, it's most unfair, and whoever worked out that formula should please have a rethink and instead put that money into the provision of infrastructure for Nigerians. Thank you.
Some people have alleged now that the money is being reluted and will be used to create fraud in the 2019 election. That's some allegement now. Mika, do you agree with this?
Well, I don't disagree with them because with Nigerian politicians, anything is possible. It's all about benefits and bread and butter for Nigerian politicians generally. Well, for me, I believe that what some of the members of the House of Reps said, I align with it. Believe in what they said. There should be accountability, which is what the Buhari administration is even being asked to do in the first place. Publish a record of all returns made from Switzerland concerning this Abacha loot. Publish it in the newspapers for Nigerians to see, and then give a breakdown of how the money has been spent since the first dollar of Abacha loot was recovered by, I think, under Obasanjo to date. Then, now, the $322 million, we need to be reminded that this case about Dasuki Gate Remember, it was $322 million. The same Abacha loot that was recovered. And the former president, Jonathan, was alleged to have told the finance minister, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, to hand over the money to the then National Security Advisor, Colonel Sambo Dasuki, retired. And now, the Dasuki Gate case has been on and on, going from court to court, different issues. Now, are we building another Dasuki Gate? Because that one was about sharing. This one again, the same figure, $322 million, also about sharing. I think we should stop this idea of turning our country to a country of sharing. You know, every time we are sharing, if we're not sharing positions, we're sharing money, or we're allocating figure. You see, let's do things the proper way. That was the reason why the late Chief Bola Ige was in court with some states over the federation account, that all monies generated by Nigeria, by the component parts of Nigeria, should be paid into the federation account and disbursed. Let's respect the law. Yes, if the Buhari administration wants to bring about a special intervention program, fine, I support it. Because I believe the administration is working on the notion, the general notion that money is not circulating. That's why you see dirty 100 naira notes, because it's basically within the same, well, poor of the poor, is it?
Or rest of the poor.
Poorer or less poorer of the poor. So you see a lot of dirty 100 naira notes. So maybe now they're working on the notion that, okay, if we put this money out, there will be money in circulation, and then the economy will, the contraction in the economy will reduce a bit. Good idea, fantastic idea. I support any special intervention program that will at least reduce the poverty in the land. But you need to do things the proper way. Sit down with the governors, local government chairman. I say, okay, since the states control the local government, sit down with the governors. This is what, you have the NEC, National Economic Council, sit down. Let the vice president sit down with the governors and they work out, how can we reach the poorest of the poor? How can we reach them? And there are so many ways to do it. Bangladesh had a very good program, the Grammar Bank, where we copied the idea of People's Bank. And you saw what the late Tai Solari and the late Shokenu, yes, the late Maria Shokenu, wonderful woman. You saw what they did with the People's Bank. The transformation of Lagos Island, from a den of area boys and area girls to an international world-class business district. That idea of People's Bank contributed greatly to it. It was also aided by the then Oba of Lagos, because he supported the move and said, go ahead, please, do what you can to make these people, take these people off the streets. So, but whatever needs to be done should be done in the open. There should be transparency, accountability. Honestly, I would say, if all these disbursements are put in the open, yes, let the government reach the poorest of the poor. You even have cooperative societies. They can pump money into cooperative societies. There are different ways by which you can reach the poorest of the poor. But pumping that money through banks, let me tell you, you put in 5,000. Many of those people may not get even up to 4,000 naira. You know why? By the time banks will remove charges, remove VAT on VAT, maintenance. So which poor people are you reaching? Then they'll go and pay 1,000 for ATM. The money has gone down from 5,000 to 3,000. And then maybe the recipient pay transport, like my colleague said, from their villages. Maybe paid 1,500. And then how much is the man going on with 1,500? So how have you reached the poorest of the poor? How? Supporting what Victor said, you can put the money also into infrastructure. Now, we're talking about solar. You can use the money to subsidize the production of solar panels, so that solar panels, wind turbines, can be as cheap as anything. Nigerians can have it. And then that way, you will bridge the economic disparities in country, because many people will now be self-employed. The man who wants to be a tire repairer, hairdresser, a woman who wants to be a hairdresser, dressmaker, mechanic. Different kinds of people will do different kinds of things. And you see, that way, you will lift a lot of people from poverty. China did it. Was it not 400 million people that China lifted from poverty within how many years? by doing what? By expanding production. They expanded production. So many people were pumped into factories. So many people were pumped into production system. That's why China is the factory capital of the world today. So we have a lot of models. But giving people money, go and spend. I also remind Oshomole, the national chairman of APC, he, as Labour leader, was always condemning conspicuous consumption. He also condemned sharing. So he should remember, he should go back to those things he said those days as Labour leader. I'm against sharing, I'm against conspicuous consumption. So that this country will move forward.
Okay, Benga, you have something to say.
Just one point. Let me just quickly add that I concur with what he has said. Fantastic. I don't need to repeat all he has itemized. However, let me just add that if it is only malaria drug that government is able to subsidize,
yes,
fantastic. And an individual who is sick, and many people are down as we are talking, maybe because of the weather or whatever, with malaria, and you need an average of 1,000 naira to buy a good malaria drug. If that can go down to 200 naira or 100 naira, you will have saved many lives. Because many Nigerians die of malaria. That is a reality. You see? So these are the basic, these are areas, key areas that government can really intervene.
You remember even the National Assembly recently said that government should devote 1% of the money in the consolidated fund to the health sector.
Health sector.
So, and the National Assembly is saying that the money should be paid into the consolidated revenue account. So if it's paid into that account, and 1% of $322 million is put into health, let me tell you, a lot will not have, I mean, the issue of pregnant women, little babies dying, will be significantly, in fact, will disappear.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. And of course, we've outlined a lot of things that the money can be used for. And of course, they brought out a very strong point, and that's, of course, the health sector there. And we can only hope that the money will be used for the good of Nigerians, while we still hope for the best in the 2019 elections. And that's how we call it a wrap for today's edition of the Editors Forum. Emeka Madunagu, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, viewers.
Benga Onoyiga, thank you very much for all your unbiased.
Thank you very much. Victor, you agree that he's not a poor man. He has come
that is
poverty.
not opinion. That's what he's saying.
He's not poor. I disagree. And viewers at home will agree.
Maybe I'm going to give you some dollars.
Poverty allegation.
Victoria, thank you very much for being on the show. And of course, our viewers and all those who made this program a success, thank you very much. Till next time, do join the same time, same station for another edition of Editors Forum. My name is Rita Omodia. God bless Nigeria.